This is the 1,400 hours a year you waste on your phone. With Purdue Global, you can turn that time.
Borges ASMR. A very productive day today. I just bought some bitcoins. Percentages of bitcoins anyway, but I bought a bit of bitcoin. That was pretty cool. Not too bad. I own Bitcoin now, at least, for whatever it's worth. Some Bitcoin. I have some gold that I've just had. I've been studying up on finance and all that kind of stuff, Bitcoin and gold, and it's a very productive day to say the least. I mean, technology is really hard. There's a lot of people with a lot of information. You gotta kind of sift through a lot of dirt, or I apologize, not dirt, but yeah, at least in my case, in my understanding, I sift through a lot of tech gurus, finance gurus online and stuff like that, and I kind of, whoever I deem, that knows what they're talking about and stuff, I really kind of hyper focus on them, and I kind of pick up stuff, I pick up on apps they're telling me to use, or websites to check out, or businesses to kind of follow up on, and run down the rabbit hole down, so I kind of really pay attention, and I really follow through with, just my research and stuff on what I do for business. I put new apps on my phone, put new, bookmarks on my desktop. I keep things organized, right? I'm a very organized person, so I just kind of have everything kind of lined up, and just for the day's work, just to make the city that much more stronger. I really put an emphasis on education and educating myself with computer knowledge, and all kind of stuff, and I try to really put emphasis on keeping super organized when it comes to the world, when it comes to business and finance, and putting everything in its proper place. That's what's like my main job. I mostly do all day is that I kind of just sift through all the information, everyone's. That's what I do. I'm kind of like an information sifter, and I organize it in my own way, and I form a sense of organization on my desktop, and on my notes on my daily schedule for today and tomorrow and the upcoming days and stuff. I really plan out my movements every day, and I write it down, every single thing, and I come to realize that the most important thing is those millisecond thoughts that I have while I'm working. It's the stuff most people would just skim through, or just pass up and forget about it a second later. But I've come to find, at least in my case, it's the most important is those sporadic, half a second thoughts of tasks I should be doing that that just for some reason it just escapes me. But I have those those millisecond moments where my brain kind of like antiquates all the information, and then it comes into like a task, and it's just like in a fraction of a second it pops up in my head, and it's like clear as day, and it's just like, do this. And it could be like a set of like do 5 things or 10 or 20 things to lead to one goal, or it could just be one, even as small as just one little thing to like a to-do task. And for forever, I was really bad at writing things down, so the millisecond bright idea would come for a split second and disappear the second later, and I forget about it forever, no matter how hard I try to remember it. So now what I learned how to do is to really capture those, fractal second bright ideas to, that it's like for me, I don't know why, but I'm, to be completely honest, I'm extremely good at coming up with a grand solution, to problems. But for some reason, that bright idea that's going to solve the issue, or it's going to be a great task to accomplish, or needs to be because it's for the greater good or whatever of whatever project I'm working on or schedule I'm trying to form, or some keeping of information, passwords, things of that nature. Instead of passwords or just things I need to write down because I'll forget them a second later, to make sure, in those those microprocess seconds, that I see it for a fractal of a second, the answer to all the research and all the information, everything I was doing to lead up to that solution, that answer, it pops up in my brain, invisible in my imagination, that I see it or I hear it or it's there. I see the answer. I just gotta write it down. I can imagine it. I imagine it visually, or I just it's like my third eye. It pops in my head. The idea of the answer. And now what I do is anytime, at all times, I always carry like a notebook and paper, because I've come to find that those millisecond, bright second ideas that slip away in 2 seconds, forever, and I can't remember 'em. It's those it's those 1 second moments where everything clicks and I see the answer, that I just grab my pen and paper now. I just write it down really quick, what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to get, all that kind of stuff. So I've been getting really good with research and organization, and writing stuff down, to remember it and to execute it, whether it be tomorrow morning, the afternoon, or later that day, or whatever, so I'm getting better at executing what needs to be done, because that's the main meat and potatoes. As long as it's being executed, then you're in the clear for the most part, usually, as long as you're not doing a terrible job. Besides that, I don't know, I've just been diving deep into studies. I've been diving deep into studies, and I'm scared. I'm scared of the fact that, what was I gonna say? Well, let's put it this way. A YouTuber I used to watch a lot recently passed away. And it kind of opened up my eyes again just to the living world and stuff, because, you could be perfectly fine and happy and dandy, one day, and that very same night you could just fall asleep and just drift off and not wake up, and just pass away in your sleep, and you look fine, you talk perfectly fine. Everything seemed really cool. You had high energy or whatever. You had really high energy, and cracking jokes even, and just having a good time. And pretty solid day. And next thing you know, you go home, you go to bed, and you just don't wake up the next morning. Something happened. Blood clot in your head, or heart attack, or you just didn't, you didn't wake up. And it kind of got me to thinking, just about life in general. That I very well could fall asleep tonight and not wake up the next morning. I could not wake up tomorrow morning. So it just opened up my eyes again to know that you could seem perfectly fine, and the next morning it's just you're gone. That's it. And so it put an extra emphasis on me this week to really push through my pain and my suffering, any kind of small or however large it is, mentally, physically. And it really put a perspective in my head that, like, yeah, I gotta get cranking. I ain't got too much time left, you know. Even if I do make it to 80 or 90, you know what I mean? That's about halfway there already in my midlife, so I really gotta get cranking every day and start pumping on a lot of work, getting a lot of things accomplished. Because, yeah, I need my businesses running. I need to be working. I need to be on it, man. Else I'm gonna have a really terrible life, you know. Um, Literally, you know, and it's scary to think about. And I don't want to be caught up in a bad situation when I'm older, and you know, financially or medically, you know, and just you know, be put in a bad situation like that, you know, financially. You know, I don't want to be struggling when I'm older, you know, or stuck or something crazy happens. You know, I want to be okay. So, trying to figure out that situation. You know, trying to navigate through this thing, figure out, you know, how to make everything work correctly. I want to get a lot of things going. You know. Um, it's, you know, the whole thing's tough. You know what I mean? Uh, the whole thing's really hard. There's no really easy way through it. You know, it's kind of like you just do what you can every day. You know, and you make up your mind what are you gonna do. You know, I struggle with that because I really don't know. I'm kind of stuck in between. Sometimes what to do. You know, I'm just like, okay, should I write my book today? Should I be learning more things online to get my brain all caught up with regular life and stuff and be up to par? I'm on my phone and on my computer and stuff like that, just with tech and stuff like that, just so I'm up to speed on everything. Should I, you know, be focusing on other things? And do I not know enough about a certain subject? Should I spend the whole day studying up on it? Things take time. Learning a lot of stuff takes a day, takes a few days, takes a while, you know, and things are moving by fast, you know. Food goes fast, bills go fast, days go fast, and I need more time, you know, for everything, I need more time. It just feels like there's never enough time, you know, and I'm over here just, you know, trying to quell a freaking forest fire with a freaking bucket of water, and I'm over here just trying to, you know, get the next task done. You know, watch a YouTube video. You know, learn needed information for, you know, just for my own grasp and understanding of reality and what's going on in business. And then there's the, you know, it's life is really overwhelming. You know what I mean? The things you need to know to make everything go smooth is really overwhelming. But I'm at a point now that I'm way older, you know, super much older than I used to be. That I just learned a lot of things along the way. So let's just say I've been cutting down my forest for a long time, you know. But still, it doesn't get easier. It's just, The older you get, the more time you get to spend on certain subjects, or just computer tech, or just just general knowledge in general about life. Things Doors start opening mentally, in your mind, and you start working your way through stuff. You're like, oh, okay, this is how this works. Okay, so, and then it opens up 20 doors. And it's like, okay, organize this, do that, do this. Watch this YouTube video. This incredibly intelligent guy, and he tells you 100 different things you never knew, and you got to research up on it. And, I mean, it's just endless doors. And you think you know about stuff a little bit, and you go down this, certain door, and it's just, reveals. And there's a person who just reveals 100, 1,000 more, 100,000 or 1,000 more things that you never even knew. And so it's crazy. It's just crazy how deep this thing is. Like, I just am in awe of it every day. It's just like, I just got up on Bitcoin today, and I was just studying up on it, listening to this genius guy about, this financial nerd talk about Bitcoin and gold and everything else, and crypto and NFTs and businesses and stuff that are not working, and some are, and wealthy guys buying and selling, and sticking with businesses and people buying businesses. I mean, it's kind of crazy how much niches and information there is out there. I mean, it's just so that's why I just try to really get a firm grasp on this reality and what's really going on and all that kind of stuff. And um, it's like the more I learn, it starts to box me in more. So it feels like it starts to, like, the walls start getting smaller. It's because the more you learn, the more you become aware. You can't go down certain doors anymore. You can't go down certain alleys anymore. You can't go do this and that anymore, because you know that this other thing that you're doing is way more important than everything else that you used to do. And it just makes more sense, financially and just life-wise and career-wise. So it's just, yeah, like, I'm just going through these doors, and it feels like the walls are tightening in. It feels like the walls are getting smaller. It feels like the world's get tightening in on me. It feels claustrophobic, after a while. It just becomes like this thing, this crazy thing. Like, I'm literally battling this entire entity that is this universe, and all the living creatures in it. I'm just over here just battling everything, including myself. And it becomes this thing, like this. Before it was like this invisible thing in the background, but now it's just like this real thing. I'm just like trying to figure out how to go about it correctly, because it's just like, it goes down to the job, and it's like, okay, well, I can't do that job because it doesn't pay enough. Can't do that job because I just won't do it because I understand the outcome of that. And so you're juggling through it in your mind, trying to find a decent, doable job that isn't a nightmare to go through. And then and then after that, it's just like, okay, you got a job. Okay, well, do you like the place that you're at? Do you like where you're living? Do you like your location? And after that, once you settled that, and hopefully you got both of those things perfectly mapped out, and they're running good. Hopefully, like, you enjoy where you live. Hopefully, you somewhat enjoy, where you work at and what you're doing for work every day, every single day almost. And then once you got that, and And then what's next? Then it's like relationships, then it's like family, and it's like your significant other. Like your boyfriend, girlfriend, or then it's like your kids, and then it's like your immediate family, and then your connection with all of them. I'd hope those are good. For your own mental sake. Um, and then after that, what is that? Then it's just endless financial, and endless financial problems. Hoping to God that you got those three on lock. That you got good family, good friends, good support system around you. A job you kind of enjoy doing, or like hopefully you really enjoy doing, and it's doable every single day. And then three, where you live, and hopefully you love where you live. So hopefully you got all that trifecta plotted out and mapped out perfect, that it's going really good and you enjoy everything. And even after that, it's just like, this endless huge mountain of money that you need for all this stuff, all your work gear, all your side work gear, all your hobbies, all your bills and stuff. I mean, it's really, and then you're only getting paid so much for your full-time job, and you're doing all these side runs and stuff like that, like just side hustles, side gigs and stuff. Hopefully making a couple bucks off that too. And it's just like all your time's getting eaten up, you're tired all the time, and it just becomes this thing where it's just like, it just becomes like this um, this enveloping, like, slope of uh, enveloping slope of this robotic movement that you're forced to do every single day, and just you wake up and you just go through it, you do it, it's just like, oh. And hope to God you got your trifecta, your three, 4, 5 points in the back, the main things, taken care of. Hopefully you got a nest egg. Hopefully you got extra money saved in case this and that comes up. I mean, it really gets out of control really quick, if you look at it like that, but it's just the real way to look at it, because it's real. You really need all that stuff going good. And that's what I'm saying is, it's a very, very tricky road to go down if you don't have everything all lined up. So that's why I always make sure I'm doing the very best I can, learning more about everything, all of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Because I want to be happy and I want to prosper. Let's see. Starting to see it. Starting to see like all of this stuff is. Starting to see. Yeah. I always wonder, you know, always wonder how would I be alright in this whole thing? How could I possibly make everything okay?